Hey everybody, it's Adventures with Peps time. We are painting once again another Judge model. Now, a little bit different to normal. You're going to see the pots of paint popping up like this Oracle flesh shade. You'll see me paint, but for the first part of this video, I am just going to be talking about his weapon, as that's the interesting part of the model. And if you're a gamer, you're going to want to know these details. And if you're a painter, you can happily watch along. And once I've finished yapping away, we'll do a normal paint video after that. So he is armed with the Colt Lawrod Mark V, which is a ranged weapon, two-handed obviously. Has a short range of 12 inches, 0 modifier on your roll dice, long range of 36. This is a proper snipey rifle. It has a -1 modifier at that range though, so you got to be good at shooting. Does have power 4, which is pretty impressive, and the special rule, a long barrel. Now, the whole point of the long barrel rule is to offset its inaccuracy at range. So this weapon, because of that rule, if you try to use it with a snapshot, you are going to suffer a -2 to hit. So you really don't want to use it for snap shooting. I don't know why you would. It's a bit of a weird choice. You'd probably use the Lawgiver over the Mark V. But here is the in-world fluff for it. Realizing that Judges required a long-range alternative to the Lawgiver pistol, the long-barreled Lawrod was developed using the Lawgiver Mark I as its base. The Lawrod will only fire standard execution rounds, but its advanced sights allow it to be accurate over a long range and, despite being replaced in general service by the Widowmaker, the MK5 version is still the preferred weapon of the Justice Department snipers. Now, one thing I'm a little bit disappointed with on this model is that this is just a street judge armed with the Lawrod. They could have done a sniper judge. I've seen some in comics, so I'm a little bit disappointed they didn't go that extra mile with this model. Could have had some weird optics on the helmet. Could have been in a prone pose as well, really lean into the sniper look. Things like the City Dev have a sniper, so why can't the judges? But overall, this is a pretty cool weapon. At only +5 points, you can have a decent long-range weapon added to a Justice force quite easily. So your standard judge with that is only coming in at 18, whilst the street judge is going to come in at 23. Veteran judge 26. And if you're using it on a senior judge, I think you're playing the game wrong. But a senior judge armed with that would come in at 28. Now, as mentioned, I don't think this is a weapon you should give a senior judge, or maybe even a veteran. I feel like they should be up front cracking skulls, not hanging about sniping at people. But it'd be a great way of representing maybe a sniper judge, like a proper elite sniper judge, give him the veteran stats and one of these. But like I said, Warlord Games, give us a proper sniper model. I think it'd be really cool with the optics. Could just be a figure of the month that they do. Just a one and done super sniper elite. It'd be so cool. Right, so as you can see, I have completed the Oracle flesh shade on his chin, which is the only flesh on the show. We then had the Telesar blue for the eye lenses. And then we used Flesh Tear red contrast for the helmet and for the little red gauge on the weapon, which is very reminiscent of that Mark I Lawgiver. Up next, we're going to use a base paint called Abandoned Black. It's the classic. I'm using this over contrast paints because I don't actually want any highlighting to come through. Always find their helmets look this stunning dark black, and I like the idea of that, so I'm carefully going around catching the edges as nicely as I can. I just noticed there's a little bit of white there on the red trim. We're going to have to go back later and fix that up, but that's an easy fix. But yeah, I love painting judges, which you probably realized. I probably now have more judges than citizens and perps, so we're going to have to fix that in the very near future. I also am creating stories for all these characters on the community pages, so make sure you're checking out there. It's going to have the old Games Workshop RPG rules for it, but the fluff is very much in keeping. And I also post the stories onto my blog, adventureswithpeps.com. It's full of stuff. There's comic reviews, book reviews, loads of my Judge Dredd figures are now starting to appear over there. It's all done and looks lovely on the Squarespace site. So I highly recommend you visit and give it a look. With the black now done, we move into Lawrod blue. This colour, as you can see, goes a lovely dark blue, which is how I represent my street judges. I think we've spoken about this in previous videos. My street judges will always be dark blue with the SJS wearing black. I know Carlos, he loved his black judge uniform, but I like the difference to make the judges stand out from each other. The SJS have to look different to the street judges in my opinion. And I think making these guys a dark blue and them pure black makes so much more sense for me. But I think I actually have some SJS up to be painted next, so you can expect videos of them very soon. I have a few Strontium dogs that I want to get through first to finish off my mutant collection. I'm trying to space out my judges as much as possible. I have so many judge models. It's quite comical. So I'm trying to do, every time I do a judge model, you get a villain model as well, or a citizen soon afterwards. With the blue done, we're pretty much going to now whistle through this because there really isn't much left to the model. The blue covers probably 80%. So with the helmet and the bodysuit done, we then move on to orc flesh that I use for the boots, the knee pads, his pouches and his gloves, and obviously his elbow pads. I find this colour is nice, it's bright, it's not too over the top. It makes for a great base for a later highlighting with a bright green. Let me know what you think. Does this colour palette work? As always, I'm not doing high standard here. I'm getting paint on, they're getting to a basic level. Certain days when I don't feel like painting a full model, I grab one off the shelf and I highlight it up, as you'll see with like the city dev models. But yeah, ultimately, I am just getting these tabletop ready so that I can play games with them and have them in a position that I can actually just play around and highlight at a later date. And it seems to be working for me. Now the next stage is Iaden yellow. It's a nice bright yellow. I love it. I'm used to using this on my Eldari now. So sticking it on the judges is very much a pleasure and quite fun to do. As always, make sure you're dropping a like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. I absolutely love engaging with you. So if you want to drop me a comment, please do. Let me know if there's a certain model you want me to paint or repaint, depending on if you think I did a good enough job the first time round. I'm also hoping my voice doesn't sound too rough. I, once again, have caught a head cold. This seems to happen a lot to me now that the kids are back at school. And I am just getting beaten down by these head colds. Plus side is I get to paint more because it doesn't affect that part. It just really messes up my voice and my ability to talk for long periods of time, which is why I keep dropping in and out of this conversation. Hopefully it's not driving you too nuts. And at the 17-minute mark of painting this model, I grab the Gravelord Grey and I just slap it onto the gun. This gives a kind of dark grey effect to the weapons. I feel like I swap between this and Runic Grey, depending on the guns, depending on the models as well. So some models have a lighter grey gun, some have darker. At some point I'll have to make a choice and pick one or the other. But for now I like swapping between the two. I feel like maybe different armories have done different things to the guns. Maybe this judge is actually on sniper duty and he's darkened up his rifle so it doesn't stand out as much to the perps. But who knows? This is going to be the last step. So after this I'm going to grab some photos and I'll catch you soon with another video. Make sure to drop the like and say hi in the comments. As always, cheers for watching.